What's going on, and welcome to your casual gaming news conversation for this week. I'm Nick, that's Matt, and this is your weekly gaming news podcast from Ep.64. Matt, how are we doing, and who is the adorable co-host joining us on your bed?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. This is Pepper. Pepper's joining me live. We'll see if she sticks around.
Yeah, we
She
will.
likes to hang out.
We will see. Is For you, are you shooting in your bedroom? Like, is this where
hmm
you sleep? Okay, cool. Do your animals, are they allowed to sleep in bed with you, or are you someone that's like, nah, not for me? I need to be able to go spread eagle and not have a bed that it has a feline in it.
I mean, she's allowed to. She just doesn't.
Okay. But she looks very, very cozy on that bed. And you want to know what's better than coziness on beds? Video games. And that's what we're doing here today, talking about the latest and greatest video game news that happened in the previous week. Thank you so much. Let's just hop straight into housekeeping. Thank you so much for your support over on patreon.com/Pokopia64. And thank you so much for your feedback about having Matt on this previous week. He's back. We got him again. We got
He
him.
got me.
It was a big check. It did clear right before the show, so we were able to have him back on the show. Matt, as always, thank you so much for stepping in and hanging out with me, talking about some video game news. But let's go and break it down. What we do here, patreon.com/Cope64. That's what keeps the lights and mics here on Cope64. Thank you for your support. If you support at the $5 tier, you get this show 3 days early. You get CGC 3 days early and a bonus episode of the Casual Gaming Conversation each and every week. We just shot the Resident Evil Requiem spoiler cast. It is up. It is live. You can enjoy that. So go check that out. We also have a backlog of over like 50 plus hours of content. A lot of amazing spoiler casts. A lot of people ask me, they get to the Patreon, they say, what do I do? I say, go into the search bar, type spoiler cast. Just scroll until you find a game that you like, or go check out a retrospective, or go check out one of the one-off episodes that we've done. There's a lot of great content there over there on the Patreon's bonus feed. So go check it out. Over at the $10 tier, you get the Ep.64 podcast, our conversational podcast that we do each and every month, and you get Recollecting Retro Connor's retro collecting show, where he takes you to stores, picks out a few things, and then discusses what he bought or goes through one of his video game collections. Also, at that $10 tier, you get to write in to the podcast for this podcast and Casual Gaming Conversation, and we pull some of those write-ins and have you be part of the conversation. Thank you so much for all the write-ins that we get for the show. It really does mean the world, especially with these Thursday write-ins. Just a little bit of housekeeping as we're in housekeeping. When Matt is on the show, we're going to shoot them on Thursday nights, because that way you will be able to get it 3 days early on Fridays. If not, we would be, because Matt's on the West Coast, or if we ever have a guest that's on the West Coast, it would be too late on Friday, where by the time it ended up processing on YouTube, it would be Saturday. So we want to be responsible, make sure we get that pod to you guys on Fridays. So thank you, though, for the fast write-ins. Because we post Thursday morning those write-ins, and then you guys have the rest of the day to go and get your thoughts in on the weekly news stories and everything. But we're very thankful for those write-ins that you guys have done for the show the past couple of weeks, especially. At the highest tier, you get your name read at the end of each and every podcast we do, and you get the chance to be the fourth topic for the Ep.64 podcast. This week, looks like it's going to be just Brady and myself, so we will be picking two community topics over at that highest tier. Thank you for writing in over there. Twitch streams Mondays. Going to be, as of right now, I believe, Ghost of Yote Legends with myself, Connor, and Brady. It's going to be a blast. You're not going to want to miss it. The reason I say it's supposed to be is because I believe Connor and Brady right now are so obsessed with Marathon that there's a chance that they pull a coup and we start playing Marathon on Monday. So we'll see where it lands. I will have Yote Legends downloaded, but we'll see where Monday stream ends up by the time we do our Sunday meeting. Tuesday and Thursday, I will be continuing on with Life is Strange, episodes 3 and 4. And then Wednesdays, I don't know what Connor's playing. It could be Pokopia, it could be Marathon, or he could be starting up his next playthrough. I do not know. But that information will be told to me, hopefully, by the time we shoot CGC on Saturday. Then, also, the fun continues with Blueprints in the Mornings. These streams, Matt, are giving me life. Okay, they are starting my day the right way as I'm playing through this phenomenal indie game. This week we did Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then of course I got so addicted that we are going to do Friday also. This upcoming week for the housekeeping bit, we're continuing to fund. The plan is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Friday could be a bonus. We'll see if that goes and happens. But those 4 days, and we're going to go and stream from 9 to 11:30. 9 to 11:30, a little bit of a change there, extra 30 minutes each day. It's been a blast, man. It's been so freaking fun. I am addicted to this game, and I want to beat it next week.
Is it really that addicting?
Matt, I didn't.
You've never been that much of a puzzle guy. Like, you've never really sunk your teeth into a puzzle game like this before.
Yeah, and I think that it is much like the roguelike genre just in general. Obviously, this is a roguelike too. I didn't know I was a roguelike guy until I started playing these games, and I was like, oh shit, I love this gameplay loop. I love bettering myself each run. And now I'm playing this, and I have my notes literally on my coffee table. I had a friend just come in here. They needed to go and borrow some batteries. So I went and I just, they're at the door, about a hand of batteries. They see this yellow legal pad on my table. They're like, what the hell is happening there? And I was like, I'm playing the game. It needs notes. They're like, what game needs notes? That sounds so dumb. And I'm like, it's the greatest thing ever. I love this so much.
You're doing it right. I love when a game gets me to pick up a pen and paper. That's how you know that you are fully engaging with it, is if you have to write things down and then refer back to them successfully later.
Yeah, and Matt, you would be proud of some of the puzzle solving skills I've pulled off. There's a couple of things that people have brought up where they're like, this took me till day 25 and I solved it like day 7. I've been dialed in with some of these puzzles. It's been a lot of fun. But yeah, Blueprints in the morning. It's continuing on next week. And apparently March is just for your bonus streaming fun, going to be a lot about indie games in the morning. I do think after Life is Strange, I'm either going to start Outer Wilds at night if we beat it with that time making sense, or I will do indie games in the morning and do Outer Wilds in the morning, leading late March, early April for that time period. So a lot of fun happening with those morning streams. If you're listening to this and you're in the UK and you want us to stream more in the morning, show up for those streams and we will do it more often. But that's kind of handles all your streaming fun. No bonus streams for the next couple of weeks as we have travel and just a bunch in PAX planned, all that good stuff there. Well, we're there. PAX East. We will be there that Friday and Saturday. We'll be hanging out around the show floor. Come hang out, give us a high five, say what's up. And then that Saturday, the 28th, we'll be going to Boston Flight Club, where it is a darts bar that is pretty close to the convention center. We're going to be doing a meet and greet. If you want us to sign anything, if you want to snap a photo, if you want to ask me about how good The Last of Us truly is, or Final Fantasy VII Rebirth truly is in person, you can go and do that. Also, Matt also might be there. Just a heads up.
I'll be there. I'll be there. We includes me.
Yeah, which is very exciting.
In the books.
Yeah, and then also Rogan Plays Games, who's also been on a lot of content with us recently. He will also be making an appearance, hanging out, having a good time, grabbing a beer. And the promise is, I believe we said 7 to 8:30. That is the times we put out there. But we'll just let it ride after 8:30, as we like to say. We might leave at 8:30. We might go to another bar at 8:30. We might go and just stay at the Flight Club until 3 a.m. until they kick us out. I don't know. But no matter what, it's going to be a great time. You're not going to want to miss it. PAX East. And a reminder, you do not need a ticket to PAX East to go to this meet and greet. We're just doing it around PAX East because we know that there's a lot of people that wouldn't make the trip just to hang out with us, and that's okay with us. But if you're at PAX East already and you want to go and kick it with us, or you do want to make the drive or the flight, you do have a couple weeks to get your travel accommodations planned still. Go hang out with us. It's going to be a great time. Discord. Join up in the Discord. Over 3,000 members hanging out and having a great time. You're not going to want to miss things like WrestleMania, the conversation around Crimson Desert when that drops. That's going to be fucking bananas. Pokopia. People are going to start showing off their amazing creations and these adorable Pokemon. And it just all people are hopping into Marathon right now. Literally, Connor is in Gamers 1 playing Marathon right now. Matt, did get it confirmed before this podcast. He did drop you into this podcast. I was like, I didn't put you in this call, man. I don't know how you got here. But yeah, that's funny there. But yeah, you're gonna want to join in the Discord if you're playing Marathon, especially the big multiplayer game of the moment right now. There's people literally constantly trying to find games and play together throughout the day. So whatever your schedule is, hop in, grab a game, and it's gonna be a great time. Merch, Ep.64store.com. We're still working on some new merch stuff. We are 2 batches in on the new merch, and we're just tinkering with it. We're just trying to make it perfect for y'all, and it's gonna be a great time. You're not gonna want to miss it when we do deliver that new merch. But as of right now, t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, all the old designs are there, and they're all priced pretty fairly. They're all nothing. We're not costing $50 for a sweater here at Ep.64. So go get yourself some swag, enjoy that. Review us over on Apple Podcasts. We say this on every single podcast to review us on Apple Podcasts. It helps a lot. If you've not done so, please consider going over there. Or if you're on Spotify, drop that 5 stars. Or if you're listening right now on YouTube, hit the like button. Like, genuinely, those small things really do help the channel in a large way. So we're very thankful over there. And then comment section, drop in the comment section down below during each episode, and we will set this record straight on the next episode here on CGNC. But before we get into all this, Matt, before we get into headline number 1, weak news week, just in general. Like, headline number 1 is kind of hysterical that we're in a spot that this is headline number 1. So before we get into that, how you doing, man? What have you been playing? Is there any more information that you left on the table last week when it came to your video game fandom? A lot of people liked hearing that you're a Zelda guy. You're much more of a Zelda guy than Connor and I are. People were about that. They liked hearing that you enjoy your Final Fantasy. Is there anything there? And then if not, are you playing any games right now that you right now you got a mic in front of you? What we do here is talk games. Is there anything that you're itching to talk about on your personal gaming story?
Yeah, I am catching up on Final Fantasy 14. It's a big one. It's a big fish to reel in, but I'm getting caught up on it. I'm on Endwalker right now, and I'm gonna blaze through Dawn Trail and get caught up. And I'm having a blast with it. The story has been great, and that's what people show up for with FF14. After that, I want to jump into some Mario Galaxy in preparation for the movie.
Oh yeah,
because the movie's coming out, and I really enjoyed the Super Mario movie, and I want to get hyped for the Mario Galaxy movie. So I'm going to play Galaxy and hopefully Galaxy 2 in time for it.
Dude, are you going with the Switch port that came out recently?
No, I'm going to play it on original hardware on a Wii.
Hell yeah, I didn't know you had a Wii just kicking around your place right now. That's sick.
Nick, like 100 million people have a Wii. Are you surprised that I have a Wii?
Honestly, Matt, I'm not surprised about anything with you, dude. If you told me that you had the original Game Boy, if you told me that you had the Xbox without Uno on it, I might believe you, Matt. I might believe you. So yeah, no, that does check out that you're gonna play it on original. You're not once again this. I feel like at the start of each of these podcasts that we have you on, it should be a little bit of video game knowledge with you. Do you put yourself in the boat of collector, or do you just have certain consoles and have certain things? So
No, I'm not a big collector. I just have what I have, and if I see something I like, I'll get it. Like, I have a couple of like Zelda edition Nintendo consoles, which always put a smile on my face.
Hell yeah.
But I don't actively go out of my way to collect for anything. Obviously, if it's like a retro game, then I'll go out and get it, because usually that's just the most accessible way to get it is through sort of the collector's circuit.
Yeah.
But most new releases I get digital, and I don't have much to display, so it's not really my bag.
Hell yeah. I mean, you know me, I'm not a collector. The most games that I have physical for consoles right now is PS5, which is kind of nuts to say when you think about how useless compared to a 360 disc. Like, hey, it's backwards compatible and it's older, and like that's the way that you can really pick up and play a lot of these games and get them for cheaper, especially compared to the digital storefront over on the Series X. But yeah, for me, it's PS5 games. I literally realized that like the other day, where it's like, yeah, I pick up 5 or 6 PS5 games physical just because I like them for the set. But other than
Yeah,
that,
and you do shop physical for a lot of games, even like especially for games that you like so much that you want to support the devs. Like for
yeah,
Expedition 33, you'll go out of your way to get another copy to
yep.
make sure that you have it physical.
Yeah, that's something that we really started to focus on last year, where it was like, if we get sent copies, we want not only to like go and hey support the devs, but also be like, hey, our money was on the line in the same way that your money was on the line. For your $40 was on the line picking this up. So like, we like to go and have that little like feather in the cap, being like, Expedition 33 is a game that we fucking love. We want to support the devs, and we also just had our skin in the game. This $40 was the same 40 that I spent is the same 40 you spent. And so, yeah, that was an easy one. Just bomb over to GameStop, picked it up physical, and it's nice to have on the set too there.
Mhm.
But cool, man. Yeah, I'm stoked to hear more about your Final Fantasy 14 journey. This reminds me a lot of your Kingdom Hearts journey, where like I'm just gonna play all, like you're just gonna send it for tens and tens of hours, if not hundreds of hours, through a boatload of content.
Yeah.
I'm excited to touch base with you more and more on
Yeah, I guess
this.
I guess that's one I didn't mention last week. I'm well versed in Kingdom Hearts. I feel like I've played all of them except for Recoded, and like I'm not in a rush to play Recoded. If I really get an itch to play Kingdom Hearts 1 again, maybe I'll play Recoded because it's so much reused stuff, but everything else I've played, and
Yeah,
I feel like I could hold a conversation. So
yeah.
hit
It's
me up.
it is funny. If we need someone to talk cage ball on this podcast going in the future, it will be Matt and Connor. I will bow out. I will
Get me
happily.
in there.
Yeah, that might be my favorite Matt-ism during this little stretch of time that we've had, where I'm sending out a bunch of details to a bunch of different people that we're basically bringing in as contractors. And I'm like, hey, I have this idea for me and not Matt. And Matt will be like, get me in there, dude. I want to talk. Like, I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
Matt.
because what you failed to realize is I'm doing this for fun. I'm doing this for the love of the game.
Yeah. So it is nice to have someone that is super passionate about just creating content right now and doing this show, especially this show that has been it's crazy to think like it's over a year running now. Like this podcast, let alone an episode of CGC, which I think you're partially hosting an episode of CGC here in a couple weeks. I have no idea what the schedule is off the top of my head right now. It is 10:30 right now. But yeah, this is also a funny thing where I think that a lot of people don't understand what I do with my time, just in general. If you're somebody that ever thinks that the stream of Life is Strange just finished, and then I used the restroom, and then I grabbed water, and then Matt got dragged into this call, and then I was setting some things up, and then we went live. Like you know exactly what I've been doing from 7 p.m. till probably like 11:30. So there's no unaccounted for hours when it comes to old two shoes right now. But it's a lot of fun. So yeah, this has just been a blast, and it's always fun to have you on the pod, man. It's been truly awesome for the hour and 15 minutes we've or hour and like 45 minutes total now that we've been shooting together. So that's pretty rad. All right, Matt, you ready to get into this whole thing?
I'm ready. Let's get into it.
For the people that hate when we go long on housekeeping, I'm sorry. Because that timestamp is going to look crazy. Where it's like
Timestamps we trust.
yes. Headline: Surprise Nintendo trailer confirms new Yoshi game release date. This is Andy Robson over at VGC. Quote: Nintendo has confirmed that its Switch 2 side-scroller Yoshi in the Mysterious Book will release on Thursday, May 21st. The release date was shared via a new overview video published on Tuesday to celebrate Mario Day, March 10th. The game features a talking book called Mr. Encyclopedia, and according to the new video, players will be able to discover, name, and log creatures during the game, which will progress them through the story. Quote: one day, on the island where Yoshi and his friends live, a peculiar talking book named Mr. E suddenly falls from the sky. End quote. A synopsis for the game reads, quote: the mysterious book pages contain information about unusual creatures, so Yoshi decides to jump in and help investigate. While examining the creatures, Yoshi can eat them, jump on them, or even carry them on his back. Using Yoshi's ability to reveal all sorts of characteristics about inhabitants of Mr. E's page, use Yoshi's abilities to reveal all sorts of characteristics about the inhabitants of Mr. E's pages. Some cause flowers to bloom, others blow bubbles. Each new discovery leads to new avenues of exploration and even more discoveries. End quote. Yoshi's confirmed release leaves Rhythm Heaven Groove, Fire Emblem, Fortune's Weave, and Pokemon Champions as the only confirmed 2026 first party Nintendo games without locked dates. End quote. Matt, I asked you to watch this trailer. I made sure to watch this trailer because this is headline number one on CGNC, which
Mhm.
once again, it's a weak news week, y'all. We don't got a lot to talk about with this news. But with it, I told you this could be a fun, more broad conversation about Nintendo. But it's keeping it on this Yoshi and the Mysterious Book game. How are you feeling after this trailer and this more deep dive look about what we're getting with Yoshi and the Mysterious Book?
Yeah, this trailer actually really captured me because I think that it's showing off that there's a lot more depth to this game than we've seen in the previous Yoshi entries for a long time. Um, the main thing that drew my attention is obviously the main sort of mode of progression in this game is the book pages and filling in those pages. And how you specifically fill in those pages is really interesting to me because you sort of fill them out, it seems, by exploring all the modes that Yoshi has of interacting with the world and has since the earliest Yoshi games, which is like eating the enemy, throwing things, and also more nuanced things like how does this enemy interact with the levels. And so there's a lot more going on here than just it's a 2D platformer, right? And I think we give Yoshi a lot of flack in Yoshi games for sort of being just another type of Mario-esque platformer. And Yoshi games sort of live in Mario's shadow in that regard. But I feel like there's less of a level first approach to game design going on here with Yoshi, in that you are trying to fill out this book and there isn't necessarily a goal to get to beyond learning about the entries in the book. And what I want to wrap all this up with is saying is I think that's important because there are a lot of people out there like you, yes, you, Nick, who just want to get to the end. They
Yeah.
want to get to the goal, hit the flagpole, and move on to the next level. And this game says, no, we want you to learn about the things we put in this game because it takes a lot of effort to make enemies interact with the environment in a way that they have in previous entries. I see a lot of like unique things coming out of this game that sort of remind me of Mario Wonder,
Yeah.
where there are a lot of like bespoke interactions that only show up in one level. And this game, I think, will do a good job of highlighting those in ways that other platformers don't. Um, and it also probably has a lot more open interaction going on with it. I think that the player will be able to dictate a lot of their experience in sort of like a sandboxy way in terms of what they choose to interact with and what they choose not to and what they choose to learn more about and what they don't. And that also kind of reminds me a little bit of how they handled the Pokedex in Legends Arceus, where you have a list of Pokemon and you have like a list of objectives related to those Pokemon. And some of those objectives are like very unique to the Pokemon that you're looking at. And that's kind of what I expect to see out of the book in this game. And that gets me excited because it leads to a lot more unique experiences instead of checking boxes and completing levels.
Yeah, that's a hell of a synopsis. My big theory, or my big fear with this one, and my theory of what it was going to be, was I'm nervous it was going to be a Princess Peach Showtime situation where they really lean in on some of the kid aspects of it. It is very linear. It is like, okay, we're just flying through this game. Brady and I streamed it, I think, in 2 weeks, where literally it was just like 3 hour stream, maybe 3.5 hour stream, and we flew through that game, and it was just a small little fun moment of Nintendo joy that you get. But it wasn't a really complex game by any means. It was all right. It was a okay to good situation. Whereas I now look at this trailer because I with the first trailers and everything, I was like, what are we doing? Is this more kid focused? Like the best Nintendo games
Mhm.
are the ones that are able to go and be fun for a child, but also like adults are able to enjoy in the same way. It's a lot like a good Pixar or Disney movie in that way. And
Yeah.
this was the fear of, nah, they're just going down the kid avenue. No, this trailer gives me the faith, like you said, that there's a lot of complexities to this game that actually make me want to play it. Like this was not on my radar of a must play type of situation, even for the content that we do. And the same way that like Tamagotchi Life is a game that is coming out in about a month, and it's like, okay, like I don't think I'm going to try it out. At this point, there's a lot of shit coming out in April, like a lot, especially with games like Mouse PI getting delayed and Replace getting delayed. It's like I don't think I'm gonna have time for Tamagotchi Life. Now I look to May, and there's definitely some games coming out, but this is when I'm probably gonna want another hit of that Nintendo joint after my time
Mhm.
with Pokopia. And so I look to Yoshi, and I'm like, "Are we doing this thing?" And the trailer convinced me to be like, "Yeah, hop in. The water's fine. Like this
Yeah.
game is going to be pretty legit." So and also I do, it's not shared here. I do believe that this is a $60 game also, which obviously Nintendo right now they're going up to that 80 area. Let me just double check that real quick. Yoshi and the Mysterious Book price. Um $60, yes, and it's a 20
Yeah.
gig game. That's what I got on my Nintendo News for a headline piece there. $60, not your full price Nintendo game, not a $70 game, not a Mario Kart World situation where they're going up to an $80 price tag. It's lower than a Donkey Kong Bonanza. I love that for this. Like, I
Mhm.
love that this is probably going to be not a 15-hour platformer, but we're sticking in the 2D space. We're going to do a 7 to 8 hour platforming experience. The art style is going to be off the chain. Excuse me. It's going to make you smile, and
Mhm.
we can move on with our day. Like, I like that right now there's a great conversation happening about game time length with Resident Evil, where a lot of people are like, man, like $70 for only 8 hours. Normally, if you brought that without Resident Evil in the conversation, that's a little too little. That's not enough for me. People are beating this game in 8 or 9 hours, and it's like Resident Evil comes out. It's like if the quality's there, who gives a shit about the time? Like, dude, Resident Evil's fucking rad. Of course, it's worth $70.
Mhm.
If this can be that sort of $60, it gets it a lot of eights, maybe a couple 8.5s. I'm so happy to fork it over to Nintendo and be like, yeah, take my money with this one. I want in, especially after this trailer. Um, Now just broadening out the conversation, it's Mario Day. This is what they
Mhm.
had for us. This and the day before we did get the announcement of another trailer. Also, Matt, I'm sorry I didn't call you. This was the most important news of the week. Childish Gambino is playing Yoshi. Do you have any
I did
thoughts?
see that.
Do you have any thoughts about the rapper, actor, comedian playing Yoshi? And all he's gonna say in this movie is fucking Yoshi, right?
I
Like,
know that you just answered the question for me. There's so much talent there. Like Donald Glover is an incredibly talented man, and Yoshi is like one of the easiest roles in cinema. And that's kind of a common thread for a lot of the casting in the Mario movie is these are not hard roles to play.
yeah. You're able to pull in big names. Him and Vin Diesel for Groot should go and grab a beer together. They should laugh about the millions that they're cashing for these roles for saying the same voice line over and over again.
I'm here
Um,
for it.
yeah, it's gonna be a good time. Like you said, I'm excited about this. We will be doing a not a bonus pod situation. It will be a bonus pod, but not. This isn't a Thursday Patreon deal. Wednesday. This was part of the Co-op 64 day promises that you guys accomplished. That Wednesday movie comes out. I believe it is April 1st. I want to say off the top of my head now. It was April 2nd. They pushed it a day early. That Wednesday, me, Connor Brady, they're going to get off work. We're canceling stream. We're going straight to the local cinema. We're watching the movie. We're coming back here. Mics and lights will be set up. We'll still bring the fucking bucket of popcorn, I assume, to this to this shoot. And we're just going to yap it up and do a quick podcast about that. It might be 20 minutes. I assume it will be me recapping the whole movie and discussing our favorite moments and probably get to about an hour, but it's going to be a great time nonetheless. And you should get excited about that and watch the movie as soon as possible. And whenever you do watch the movie, that pod will be there for you after the fact. But yeah, going backing this out once again, it's Mario Day. This is the announcements that they had for us. It is Yoshi. we're not getting the next mainline Mario. So we're talking about a first 6 months of this year with the Switch 2 that is for ports. You have the Mario Wonder upscale park. It's like Bell something park. I forget off the top of my head because I'm
Mhm.
not going to play it. You have that, and then you have the Animal Crossing update that they did. And then you look at the Switch 2 lineup, and it is Mario Tennis Fever, it is Pokopia, it is Yoshi, and it is Tamagotchi Life. Is this a good enough selling point for somebody like you, especially who doesn't have a Switch 2, where you're sort of chomping at the bit, being like, actually, this was a good time. I want to get in on it? Or do you think, AKA, is Pokopia pulling enough weight with this sort of lineup? And now Yoshi coming into the game. Is all this working enough where you're like, yeah, this is a good 6 months for Nintendo? Or do you think that there needs to be a little bit more sauce on this lineup?
I think that you hit the nail on the head when you said that Pokopia is pulling the weight here. Um, I'm not wowed and zowed by the rest of the slate. And I think that if a Fire Emblem was here instead of later, I think that would have drawn in a different crowd. Whereas I think the sort of the casual and cozy gamers have already shown up.
Yeah.
Um, or like Pokopia is getting them.
Yeah.
And the the gun and ball folks aren't in business
Yeah.
of Yoshi and his mysterious book. Um, and
Mass
I
audiences
think
aren't coming out. Yeah.
those people are holding out for the Duskbloods, which will inevitably sell a lot of consoles.
Yeah.
Um, because that is going to solidify the adult audience on the Switch 2, and the first half of the year is not doing that necessarily.
Yeah, I completely agree. You're trying to go and find the different ways to go and actually sell a shit ton of consoles. And I do think that we kind of got to bring in this next story at this point just to have this full
Mhm.
conversation with the context necessary. So let's do it. Headline: Pokopia is already one of the best selling Pokemon spin-offs just after 4 days. This is Andy Robson over at VGC. Quote, on Thursday, Nintendo and the Pokemon Company confirmed suspicions that the Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive was off to a very strong start, confirming that sales have surpassed 2.2 million as of last weekend. That figure includes more than 1 million units in TPC and Nintendo's home market of Japan, the pair said in an announcement. As summarized by Cerebi editor Joe Merrick, this means Pokopia is already in the top 12 selling Pokemon spin-offs ever based on known digital and physical sales data. End quote. Pokopia is doing work.
It
like
is.
like it is it is moving units to a large level, I would say. Like it is moving enough units where there's a lot of people that I see the social posts that do not have a Switch 2 right now. They're like, fuck, like I'm missing out on a game. And you kind of need, for system sellers, going back to the conversation we had last week, you need some FOMO. You need to feel like you're missing out on the moment when it comes to your system, just in general. Matt, as somebody that is in the market for a Switch, you've been waiting for the moment where you have to pull the trigger on a Switch. Or do you have any of those emotions right now where you're like, damn, I kind of wish that I was able to hop into Pokopia and put down Final Fantasy 14 for a little bit?
Yeah, it kind of took me by surprise because when this game was first announced, I saw like Uncanny Valley Ditto uh taking the human form and was a little bit afraid. Um and that feeling still hasn't really gone away. I'm still a little creeped out, but everything else about the game is like a match made in heaven, and I wonder why it hadn't been done sooner. It's a perfect marriage of all of the aspects of a cozy game that people know and love with the Pokemon charm very well embedded into it.
Yeah.
And that like it's a very perfected formula, which is why it doesn't surprise me that it took the world by storm. And you asked about me personally. I am on the fence still. I
Yeah.
think if I The part that intrigues me is the multiplayer and the longevity of said multiplayer. I think if I had the concrete promise of making like memorable connections with my friends on this game, that is what would sell me on it. And that's what's happening with a lot of people. And
Yep.
that's why I think the game is doing really well is the multiplayer and the shareability of this game is helping its virality.
For sure. I think you nailed it to some level. Single player games can only have so much of a moment, just in general. But how nice is it, going back to the Animal Crossing conversation back in the pandemic? Hey, come and hang out with me on my island. Let's go and do cool shit together. Let's hang out. Let's have this in what feels like an in person connection through this video game. And that allows for a certain boost to wanting to check everyone else's stuff out, not even just on social media, but in game. Hey, I want to go and check it out with you. And Matt, let's be honest. Am I going to play this game? I'm going to roll credits on this game. I'm trying to like hold back some of my thoughts because that is one, excuse me, of the main topics of CGC. But I'm really enjoying my time with Pokopia at this point. I've played less than 10 hours, so I'm not like all in right now. I need to put more and more time into it over the next couple days. But like I am enjoying my time. I think that this game is awesome. And if you did have a Switch 2 right now, I would be like, hey man, check out my shit. Like, and
Mhm.
my buddy Santiago, I was just on vacation with him recently. He's Mr. Animal Crossing. I'm like, dude, you have to get Pokopia. Like this, and we can have these moments. Like you, come on, dude. And he's literally going to be swiping the card soon from the last time I talked to him, which is exciting. But like having those moments definitely boost the need of the system right now. Missing out on it is tough. It is. I literally am seeing more and more people, just random people that are outside of the video game bubble, posting the Squidward meme, looking outside the window at SpongeBob and Patrick playing, and it is Switch One
Mhm.
owners, and then outside it's Pokopia. Like the fact that we're getting to that level shows that
Yeah.
Nintendo's business strategy is damn strong. I do want to go and pull in a write in here from Rich C, who brings up the fact there is no doubt that Pokopia would sell due to Pokemon's dedicated fan base, but I think we were all taken aback when this was announced at September's Direct. We were also unsure how this would look at launch. Have to give credit to the Pokemon Company and Game Freak, and I'm going to interstitial. I think Koei Tecmo is the other people working on this. There is someone else working on this that's outside of those two conglomerates,
Mhm.
but yeah, get in the comments, please. Trying something different aside from the mainline games. Omega Force deserves its flowers as well for the Dragon Quest Builders games they delivered on this one as well. It was Omega Force. Thank you. We likely,
Oh,
yeah,
these are the people who did Dragon Quest
I believe so.
Builders.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm
Which
seeing a lot of the same genes.
yes, everyone that plays Dragon, that is the number one comp. It is more of a comp to that than it is to Minecraft or Animal Crossing from
Right,
everything that I
right,
know
right.
about that. Continuing on with Rich C here, we likely have a new series of games they can launch due to the success of Pokopia. We're actually living in a world where Pokemon Pokopia may get a Game of the Year nomination. Gaming in 2026 is off to a red hot start. Rich, thank you for writing in over on Patreon. One and two, yeah, this is hitting in the way that literally last week we were fully talking about the IP of Xbox. Where it is like, can you imagine Fallout comes out with like a 96 and or a 90 plus, and everyone wants to play it, and you just need to get after it. That's what Pokopia is doing right now. It is
Yeah.
fully using its IP power, delivering the goods on a phenomenal game. I really do think to some level, even though Legend C through A sold decently well last year, it sold like as well as you would expect a Pokemon game too. Having the quality and the IP match made in heaven. This game is
Yeah.
awesome. This
Yeah.
is, you can make the case it's the best game on the Switch too. Like, talk about a system seller. There's your case. And now you also look at the rest of the Switch lineup. I think I can make a strong case at this point. You have Donkey Kong, you have Mario Kart World for your fun multiplayer game, or Fever if you really want to play Mario Tennis and you're just a Mario Tennis person. But I'll say Mario Kart World for the general consumer. And now Pokopia, you have two games from the single player aspect, which is what a lot of the hardcore has been holding off for, is they want those single player gaming moments. I'll even toss him out. Connor being one of those people. He's like, when the Switch came out, where's my single player? Where's the things that I'm going to sink hours and hours
Mhm.
into? You have Donkey Kong Game of the Year nominated, phenomenal platformer. And now you have Pokopia, which literally the people that were reviewing it, one, God bless them, because they were putting, like, I don't even know what the timeline is, but people were putting 120 hours into this behemoth of a game to really like find all the nooks and crannies. This is
Mhm.
a endless type of game. This is a forever type
Yeah.
of game from the single player standpoint. You add in the multiplayer aspect that you brought up. This is it, dude. Like, this is why you play the game, especially on
Yeah.
a show like CGNC where we're talking about the business aspect of it. On Nintendo, we can complain all they want about the missteps that they make, which are very few and far between, but they do make them.
Mm.
This is an insane push. I do want to, before I get back to you, because I know that you have some thoughts probably about what I was just saying.
Mhm.
Mr. Munchie brings this in about one of those missteps. When Nintendo revealed the game keycard, gamers online rioted. Everything you saw online at the time was how evil Nintendo was for this form of physical games. Despite this, Pokemon Pokopia is one of the best-selling games so far this year, and the physical version, GKC, Game Keycard, is hard to find. Excuse me. I gotta start drinking ginger ales on these shows. Is hard to find in stores. End quote. Yeah, we can all complain. We all know game key cards are dumb, but also when you're at least able to return your game, which is nice to if you want to go and do that physical media, digital sort of deal. That's nice, but also everyone likes to complain. But when the game's good, who gives a shit? That's sort of
Yeah.
the situation that we're in right now. Matt, what say you about Pokopia's immense success with this whole formula, and then the game key card situation where it's still selling like hotcakes?
I mean, you brought up FOMO, and I think you're right in that FOMO is a big system seller. Um, but what strikes me about Pokopia and the reason why I don't feel the need to immediately get in on the ground floor is that, like you said, the people who spent 120 hours just trying to review the game in time for its release is a very good canary in the coal mine that this game has staying power.
Yeah,
Um, it is going to be the creative sandbox that leads to 1,000 hours,
yeah.
um, much in the way that Animal Crossing was for a lot of people. And so I know that when I do eventually get a Switch 2, this game will be there for me. Um, it's not necessarily something that I need to get right away. I think that a lot of multiplayer focused games that don't really deliver on a single player experience, they do necessitate you getting in early to sort of test the waters. Um, but a game like this will be here forever and will be just as fun in 2 years. It'll be just as fun in 5 years as it is right now. And that's a great indicator. I think it's going to sell. It's selling like hotcakes, and it's going to sell incredibly well for the rest of the console lifespan.
Let's bring in Dylan, who also writes in about Pokopia. I think we've only seen the tip of the Pokopia iceberg. Not only is it a huge IP, but it's going to be great. It's going to be a great novel experience for cozy game enjoyers who move to Switch 2. At the moment, it's crushing because it's Pokemon. But as we enter the spring, I think the word of mouth is going to reach a fever pitch. Quote, hey, this is the new Animal Crossing. You need to get a Switch 2 so we can hang out and end quote, etc., etc. Matt, is this the tip of the Pokopia iceberg?
Yeah, it is. It is the tip of the iceberg, and I think that, like I said, this game has legs. Dylan, thank you for writing in because it feels like you're just continuing the conversation
Yeah.
that we just had.
Yeah.
Thanks to everyone who's writing in on these.
Yeah, shout out, dude. And then now let's bring it back whole picture. First two stories combo time.
Mhm.
As we go and look ahead for the Switch 2's life cycle at this point, and we look ahead, they bring up the fact that Rhythm Heaven Groove, Fire Emblem, Pokemon Champions, we already discussed the Dust Bloods in this conversation for 2026. Can Nintendo get away with that alone being their lineup? Where you have the heavy hitters of what we assume Fire Emblem, Dust Bloods, and now Pokopia? Or do you think that they need a little bit more gas on this fire for them not to just have rest on their laurels and have a crushingly amazing year? Or do you think that no, this is good enough?
I think that this is good enough. I think that Pokopia is a surprise to everyone.
Yeah.
And if it continues to garner this much popularity, it will undoubtedly make appearances at the Game Awards.
Yeah.
So I think on both fronts, in terms of, is Nintendo okay to release these games as far as how much money they're going to make?
Yeah.
Yes, because Pokopia is doing really well and will continue to do so. If you are in the camp of, okay, are they going to be well represented come award ceremony time? I think also yes, because this has like best family game written all over it,
Yeah.
right? It's
It's
got
already
it's
over.
got couch co-op. It
Yeah.
has promises to be an award winner, at least in some categories, if not the one that people talk the most about.
Not sorry to interrupt, but multiplayer even it
Yeah,
should and could get a
absolutely.
nom there too. Yeah, 100%.
If the people have been trying to capture the Minecraft experience since it came out, and this is another game that is coming very close, if not equally um as deep
Yeah.
as the Minecraft multiplayer experience.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, you're totally right. They're nailing it on both fronts. They're making their money. We're playing great games, and I would assume that they're going to come through on a cadence with those three titles in a way that I will be picking up my Switch with awesome game of the year level shit
Mhm.
about once a quarter, every 4-ish months, and then in between, Yoshi, dude. Like Mario Tennis. Like give me a couple of fun game nights with my Switch 2 before I go and pick up the next major AAA banger from a third party or a Sony or an Xbox.
Yeah, I think if you're someone who only has a Switch 2, you will be entertained from January to December this year.
For sure. I do think that there's going to be some people that are like, these guys, are you kidding? What? We want more Nintendo stuff. And it's like, yes, I understand to the person that is typing out that comment right now that I want more Nintendo stuff too. I would love another Mario game in here. But like, if I'm looking back at this year and these games hit the mark that we do expect from this Fire Emblem team, that when they're making the big ones, they don't really miss nowadays. And then, I don't
Mhm.
know, Miyazaki directing, like, not that is 90 plus Metacritic if I've ever heard it. Like I'm fine with it and I can live with it. And it like if you don't think it's enough, it's now definitely a lot closer than it was not enough before Pokopia came out. Where I think that
Sure.
like Connor on the pod was very doom and gloom about this for 6 months. I think that Pokopia, like you said, is a kind of forever game. You could pump 1,000 hours into it. It could be the thing you play on your Switch 2 this year, and that's the only thing you play.
Yeah,
So it
it's
gives,
changing the narrative.
yeah, it completely changes the narrative. All right, you ready to move on to this next headline, big dog?
Yep.
Headline: Microsoft reveals Project Helix features at next gen Xbox GDC talk. Alpha versions to be sent to devs in 2027. This is Wesley Yimpel over at IGN. Quote, Microsoft has revealed early features of Project Helix, its next gen Xbox, while confirming plans to send alpha versions of the hardware to developers in 2027. Excuse me. At a 30-minute GDC 2026 keynote attended by IGN, check our live reporting here to find out more on what was said. Jason Rowland, VP Next Generation Microsoft, reiterated that Project Helix will play Xbox console games and PC games. We then got confirmation of early features and targets and the promise of, quote, an order of magnitude improvement, end quote, on ray tracing performance. Moving a bit further into the article now. Confirmation that alpha versions of Project Helix will be sent to developers in 2027 is interesting, as it suggests the console won't be in the consumer's hand for some time yet. Perhaps we'll get a proper reveal of the final version of the console at the end of this year, or maybe more likely in the summer of 2027. When will Project Helix be released? 2027, 2028, 2029? End quote. Matt, let's go and shout out to Wesley and Pool. When will this project be released? 2027, 2028, 2029? Give me the map barometer after the long conversation we had. By the way, if you want the long, extended Project Helix conversation, Matt and I on the show last week talked about an hour only about that. But for this question, with the new reporting that we have here, Where are you at with this console? Is it a game? Are we doing the 7-year life cycle still with the 2027 release, or are we going into 2028, 2029?
I think definitely 2029. I'll say 2029 plus. And with that, I'm like, guys, be patient.
Yep.
This thing will come out when it comes out. Um, Enjoy this console generation because it's going to be going on for a little while longer.
I love it.
Longer than you expected to, or probably expected it to at the start of it.
Yeah, I completely agree at this point. You look at the RAM shortage issue, that's the one major facet of this. I do want to bring up the announcement time issue of this, where a lot of people that see this get brought up and they're like, oh man, like we're getting this thing next year. The reason that they announced it when they did was a dual wield approach. One, GDC. It's coming up. If they didn't say something about it, it would be worst kept secret sort of situation. Every single person on any single GDC party would be hearing about
Hmm.
Project Helix. Like it would
Yeah,
be
they're getting ahead of the leaks.
yeah. So they wanted to talk about it a little bit. They wanted to start. Hey, devs, get this on your radar. We are working on this next system, and fans, let us control the messaging there. Two, Asha Sharma, new CEO. Let's give her a win. Let's go and make this next step happen. I didn't bring in this news story, but apparently the everything is an Xbox market campaign like legitimately died over this past week, where they like took down all of its promotion. Like that campaign is over. They want to change the narrative from that. They don't want everything to be an Xbox. They want Project Helix, whatever this next Xbox to be called, to be your Xbox. And I do think that that is a good promise and a good messaging going forward with what they're doing and how they're doing it. I all things considered, like I like where they're at right now. Keep saying some of the right stuff. And yeah, like Matt said, 2028 is the earliest we're seeing this thing. Earliest, I would say. I'll see you guys in 2029, and hopefully we're in a world where RAM shortage isn't fucking disastrous the way it is right now.
Yeah, and to the people who are nervous about sort of game development cycles, sort of only maybe beginning in 2027 for this generation that is upcoming, um, I wouldn't be too worried that the Project Helix is going to be sort of dead on arrival or useless because remember the PC development cycle is ongoing
Yeah.
and will continue to be. And whenever this console drops, it will come with all of the PC games
Yep.
that have been in development currently and will be releasing when it comes out. So you'll be able to play the new hotness on it, even if those things are not the launch titles that you expect. But maybe there will be. Maybe you'll be surprised.
I got a weird one for you. And there's no right
Yeah.
answer here. I literally just had this
Shoot.
thought. Let's just say Elden Ring 2. It's coming out 2030, right? Whatever.
Hmm.
That game, it's released. And it's released on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation 6, whatever. When I boot up Project Helix, they want me to play everywhere sort of deal. How do I, as an Xbox, make sure to use our storefront? Because if Steam's on this thing, which I think we all assume Steam will be on this thing, right? Like,
Yeah.
you don't want to give Steam the storefront cut. You don't want to give them 30% for
I mean,
when you could get that
do
30%.
that is an interesting question.
Yeah,
We haven't like in these two stories that you've brought up, we haven't seen the word Steam necessarily
true.
reported, right?
It's
So
PC
we don't
games.
know, yeah, we don't know what the storefronts plural would look like if there even will be more than one storefront.
I think that everyone's assumption with this console, and I just want to bring it up now, and like, there's not a right answer, is that Steam will be on it. When you say PC games, you think about your Steam library being able to be
One would
accessible.
hope.
Yeah, right. Like that's the selling point of this whole thing. So you can't not have Steam on it. But if I'm
Yeah.
Xbox, I need to find a way, and literally they should explain this in a serious way, being like, we want that. Like, if you are buying Elden Ring 2, you cannot use Steam basically on the system for Elden Ring 2. but you can buy Mugenics. You can buy all the games that are locked to only PC now on this console, and we're just going to port that in basically. And we'll take the hit of only getting 70% of that profit margin and let Steam have their 30 for using that marketplace, and then whatever obviously the devs make and how the
Yeah,
math works
it
out.
it seems like a slippery slope to curtail what storefront the user is able to access on a console, and I think people will be reticent to adopt a console that doesn't let them access their Steam library. I see a likelier future where Xbox maybe just takes a cut of
Yeah.
whatever Steam sales end up on their console, or vice versa. Whatever deal needs to be cut in order to make both of those appear on the same box, I think that profits will be shared.
That's a great point, and I'm sort of realizing though what that conversation is going to look like is hysterical. It's going to be Xbox knocking at the door saying, "Hey, we want some of this money," and Steam being like pissed off. The only reason anyone's buying this console is because Steam's on it. So like,
Yeah.
it's going to be a hell of a negotiation to see how that goes and pushes forward. All right, we got a couple more left for you. Headline: EA lays off staff across all Battlefield studios following record-breaking Battlefield 6 launch. This is Rebecca Valentine over at IGN. Quote, EA has laid off an unknown number of individuals from across its Battlefield teams, including workers at Criterion, DICE, Ripple Effect, and Motive Studios, IGN understands. Individuals are being informed that the layoffs are taking place as part of a, quote, realignment, end quote, across the Battlefield studios as the teams continue its ongoing live service support for Battlefield 6 following launch. All 4 studios will remain operational, though the layoffs seem to be impacting a variety of teams across multiple studios and offices. IGN asked EA for comment on total numbers and types of roles impacted, as well for specific reasons for the layoffs. An EA spokesperson told IGN, quote, we've made select changes within our Battlefield organizations to better align our teams around what matters most to our community. Battlefield remains one of our biggest priorities, and we're continuing to invest in the franchise, guided by player feedback and insight from Battlefield's labs, end quote. Battlefield 6 was the best-selling game of 2025 in the United States. It sold a, quote, record-shattering, end quote, 7 million copies in 3 days and was the best launch ever for a game in the franchise. End quote. Matt, as always, this sucks. We don't want anyone losing their jobs in this industry. That blows. I always go down the path before I get angry of being like, this is why. Just a trying to like pull back, no emotion, armchair CEO, as you said last week with some of the stuff. The reason is the game's now released. They're only supporting it, and they are able to go and lose certain people that go and produce the game. They're not going on to that next game. They are in support mode, so they are going to shutter some jobs. That's not too out of the ordinary in the industry. It does happen. It sucks when it happens, don't get me wrong, but it does happen. With that being said, how fucking much worse is it when you have a record-breaking title that you helped get out the door?
Yeah, I think the scary part is that I'm sure this was planned from the get-go.
Yeah.
Like, remember last year around like late summer, early fall when they were saying 100 million people were going to be playing this game?
Yeah.
They had to have been thinking about making the biggest game in that they would ever make.
Yeah.
It like the budget that this game was probably on to have supported the amount of people that were just laid off. It was not a disclosed number, but
Yep.
it was probably ballooning to be a lot of budget for a AAA game. And like you said, they had the people who were on to build the game, and they had the people who were on to support it. And the people who are on to build it are no longer needed, which is very unfortunate. And it's scary to think that job security in the games industry can be tied to something like that. And I think that live service games are maybe a red flag for people to sort of work on going forward if something like this is the model.
Yeah.
I
where
you're
I can't imagine working
Yeah,
in
go
live
ahead.
serving. I can't imagine working in the live service space with that. Exactly what you just said. Like that's got to be a
Yeah,
massive red flag. You sure you get to work on some of the biggest games of the planet. I think that a lot of people look at an EA, they get maybe even headhunted into these talent situations. You want the best in the biz working on your massive multiplayer titan, but like damn, like it's totally in the future it has to be looked as a red flag. But what job in the games industry is not a red flag already, where it feels like any
right.
day, no matter your
Sure.
position, it sucks. But double red flag maybe in this situation.
Yeah, I don't want to belabor this story too much. I think the silver lining of this story, my 2 cents when it comes to layoffs is that hopefully these people wind up in a spot where they're going to do something far better than they ever would have been able to with Battlefield 6,
Yeah,
right? Better that they are in the market for a position where they can make the next great thing instead of being chained to a desk on Battlefield where they're only supporting a game when they could be making something even better. Hopefully, this story is the seed that gives rise to the next Expedition 33, right? The next group of ex developers who go on to make something new and important.
fuck yeah, man. Love the positive spin on that one. Yeah, I as always closing out a story like this. Wish the best for all these devs, and like you said, hopefully they can work on something. My mindset goes to a more sinister route of like next best thing. Call of Duty's struggling a lot right now. The BO7 sucks. Like, we get Activision hit some of these people's lines because they can make some cool ass shit apparently with what they produce with Battlefield 6. That game's pretty awesome. All right, moving on. Closing now with the story that I mean, you got me, you got Matt. Run it. Headline:
I'm fired up.
Final Fantasy 7 remake part 3 director reveals gameplay mechanics and locations fans can expect. Before we get into the story, Matt and I had the conversation before this. We will be reading this article. We will be talking about locations that are visited in the OG Final Fantasy 7 that but like we're not going to be going through major story beats of OG Final Fantasy 7 for the back half of that game. We're not going to be spoiling future predictions, but we will be discussing some of the locations that potentially would be in a 3-make situation that Hamaguchi discusses in this article. Just to get your spoiler walls up, we're not going to be really spoiling shit. It's all public knowledge. We're also talking about a 20-year-old game, but just a heads up there. That's sort of the way that we are discussing this story. Biggie Blake at IGN writes, quote, Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3 director Naoki Hamaguchi has opened up about what to expect when the third installment of the highly anticipated multi-chapter game releases, quote, not too far in the future, end quote, including new gameplay mechanics and locations, some of which have yet to visit in the remake series. Talking to Bloomberg, Hamaguchi teases that allowing fans to visit Rocket Town and space is, quote, one of the elements the team had to switch around with Rebirth, end quote, as well as Wutai, not least because, quote, Yuffie's made a very prominent appearance, stating her case about her homeland, so if Wutai is not featured, I think fans are going to yell at me, end quote. Hamaguchi also revealed he has expanded on the High Wind, quote, gameplay experience, and flying is a very large part of the third installment, end quote. Sadly, he wouldn't be drawn on chocobo breeding. Quote, I can't say yay or nay on the actual breeding, but there is an element in the third installment involving chocobos that is a little different than Rebirth, end quote. Or whether or not we'll go underwater. Quote, Toriyama handled the submarine portion of the game, so perhaps he's injected himself into there, and I will leave it at that, end quote. But he did suggest that given how and where Rebirth ends, that should hint at the third installment will begin in the Great Glacier area. He also suggests players give fantasy game Historic Ebb a try, describing it as a very goofy and entertaining, quote, Disco Elysium meets Dungeons & Dragons by the way of Douglas Adams or Terry Pratchett, end quote. By the way, I've included that part of it just because Rogan was also talking about Historic Ebb. Apparently this game's fucking awesome if you're a Disco Elysium
Yeah,
person.
I listened to that pod and I'm like, hang on, maybe I gotta check this one out.
Yeah,
And now Hamaguchi's giving it a nod.
These are the two most necessary green flags for people to go and give game recommendations. Rogan and Hamaguchi, baby. Let's go. Back to the
Well, it's the
article.
indie crowd and it's the RPG crowd, and I couldn't think of another group of people to endorse this game.
Yeah. Back to the article. Quote, Hamaguchi recently discussed the impact of expanding the platforms on which the Final Fantasy VII Remake series is available, insisting that going multi-platform, quote, will not in any way lower the quality of the third installment, end quote. The director said both the Nintendo Switch 2 and Xbox versions of the game's prior installments, quote, have been incredibly well received and generated a lot of buzz online, end quote, but did note some community concerns. The director also teased that the, quote, core gameplay experience is almost complete, end quote, and while he, quote, really wants everyone to play it as soon as possible, end quote, the team has now moved on to, quote, refining and polishing, end quote. And yes, Final Fantasy VII's Rebirth Queen's Blood card game is making a powered up comeback for the final chapter in Square Enix remake trilogy, end quote. A lot of details there from one of the goats in this
Mhm.
industry. I they'll do here's where I'm at. They'll do anything except show us the damn game. This guy has been
Sure,
on a
sure.
press world tour of the ages, Matt, where he loves talking about this thing, but will not freaking give us the details on this. So
Okay, well, let's
let's
hone
hop
in on
in.
something. Like of all the proper nouns that you just read off
Yep.
that appear in Final Fantasy VII, what's the thing that you're most excited for?
Rocket Town in space. Just like what are we
Mhm.
doing there? And like imagining the team like going into space in like
Yeah.
this situation would be cool. And once again, we're not spoiling like actual like shit that's happening other than, you know, what the locations and stuff like that. But like it would just be awesome to see these versions of the characters that we love so much, the personality that they can put on display in a quirky situation like that. That's what fires me up. How about you, man?
Yeah, my favorite part about the 7 remakes thus far has been how gorgeous they are,
Yeah.
how much detail they've injected into environments that were um, even previously sort of like underloved, underappreciated. Even just like going to Calm at the beginning of
Yeah.
Rebirth turned into an excellent set piece and was a gorgeous place that was just a small town. It's a starting town, and they sort of ballooned it up and embellished it, and those embellishments are what I'm really getting excited for because this sort of disc three sort
Yeah.
of in the third part of the trilogy is where I think these environments need the most embellishing. I am so excited to see what Rocket Town looks like in like a fully realized 3D environment
Yeah.
with really great lighting and textures because it was a little bit disappointing um on disappointing of an area
Yeah.
to as a location where a lot of cool stuff happens and can happen. It's kind of just a bland location to visit. That's not going to be the case.
Yeah.
They're going to make it worth your while to be in Rocket Town, to go to space.
To see what they did
Um
with the gold saucer and just like
yeah.
really like yeah, sure, like the gold saucer in PS1, awesome, right? Like one of the go-to locations of JRPGs back in the day with the amount of color and music that is pumping through that. But like Rocket Town, you nailed it. It's like it's a shrug of the shoulders
Yeah.
location, baby. Like now, you kidding me? What they can do with that? Imagine the intro sequence of Rock or no, of the Gold Saucer in Rebirth. Do that for Rocket Town. You're making me misty eyed over here, dude. Like that gets me going. That means something to me, Matt.
Yeah. And Wu Tai is something you probably could have skipped, right?
Yeah,
In the original. I don't even know if you went to Wu Tai, Nick, when you streamed Final
I
Fantasy
don't think I did.
7. Uh, that's for sure going to be mandatory because Yuffie is now, and if they're gonna make it mandatory, they're gonna make it big.
Yeah,
And I'm for sure excited to check out the Wutai segment. And I think that the Wutai side quest was a part that they really did a good job of fleshing out in the original, but um having it be like a more intricate part of Yuffie's backstory is going to, I think there you'll spend a lot more time there. I'm
Yep.
expecting to spend a lot more time in a place that was previously a side quest essentially. And I think that lastly, he mentioned the submarine. He was coy about it, but there's definitely going to be some underwater segments. Those I think were probably the weakest part of Final Fantasy VII, and the fact that he's bringing it up now means that they've probably put a lot of attention into sort of the submarine. Probably another thing that you did not do in the original Final Fantasy
I
VII.
believe I did, which
You did.
yes, I do believe.
I think that the um the submarine section was really cool to me, and the actual like piloting of the submarine underwater was really not cool to me. It did not feel very good. Um, so I think that that is an avenue for probably some really fun mini games. I
Yeah.
think they're gonna cram this game to the gills with mini games like they did with Rebirth.
Yep.
Love them or hate them. I I'm not ready to spend another 50 hours on mini games, to
Yeah.
be quite honest with you. But there's gonna be so much snowboarding, Nick. There's
Dude,
gonna be a ton of snowboarding in
if
this
we don't
game.
get a SSX tricky level snowboarding minigame experience, I don't want it. Well, correction, I do want
Like
it still, but
we
that will be the
mentioned
case.
we mentioned spoilers. I don't know how this game is gonna end. Nobody
Yeah.
knows how this game is gonna end. I know you're gonna snowboard a ton. There's gonna be so much
There's
snowboarding.
a lot of shredding, man. A lot of shredding the gnar in Recome the remake. Matt, this is the first time we've had you on a podcast to talk about Rebirth. Or the remake. I assume it won't be the last. What's your remake name prediction right now?
Man, I wish I had it on like top of
Yeah,
mind to tell you. I was always of the camp that like, oh dude, it's gonna be a reunion.
yeah.
And then they made Crisis Core, and I was like, well, they kind of shot themselves in the
And,
foot
and they said
because
they were like, "We're not doing reunion because we already
of course
used
not.
it." And it's like,
Yeah.
how do you not use
I'm
reunion for
glad
this
they're not
game?
reusing a subtitle because that would be silly.
Yeah,
Um it's I don't even know if it's gonna start with
it's
it
gonna
would be
start with the
cute if
re.
it did,
It's gotta,
but I don't even know at this point.
dude.
I'm open to be surprised.
Here's what they need to do. Let's go. Let's Men in Black erase everyone's like hit the button to erase everyone's mind. Retitle Crisis Core to Resurgence because you're like a resurgence of this game basically because it's a remake, and then call this one Reunion, and then everything will make sense. Um,
Yeah, maybe it'll be like Final Fantasy VII restored
Yeah,
or
Restored
something.
is a great call. A lot of people like are going Reborn after Rebirth. I'm like, those are the same thing.
Too
Um,
similar.
yeah, I don't have an exact answer at this point. Mainly because it is 11:30 and my brain's a little bit fried
Yeah.
after a long one.
Yeah, you
Um,
caught me off guard with this
yeah,
question.
I'm
I
sorry,
wish I
man.
had one in the chamber for
Matt,
you.
you are allowed to the next time you're on a podcast come to me just have the fucking list. You turn it around, and but that's what this is what I've come up with. That's your homework
Yeah.
for the next episode. But yeah, I'm curious to see where it lands. On what the hell this gets named. Are you in the boat that we're gonna see this at Summer Game Fest or June State of Play, and it's 2027 also, or do you think that this could be a 2028 game?
I think that it'll be a 2027 game.
Yep.
I have no idea when we'll see it next. That's why they pay you the big bucks. I don't do these kind of predictions.
Yeah.
We'll see it when we see it, and it'll come out probably not long thereafter.
Matt, as of right now, we do have you on a podcast doing 2030 predictions. So we'll see. We'll see if Matt's first prediction on that podcast, we get three make this year. We finally see it in 2030. No, I'm excited for this, man. It's one of the few things that keeps me just smiling every single day, getting excited about this game in particular. When that first trailer hits, I'm not ready to be on a screen. I'm not ready. Like, here's what I've
Yeah,
noticed.
you can't do this to me. You're getting me excited for a game that we don't even know when it's coming out.
Yeah. But I mean, it's not my fault. Hamaguchi keeps on talking about it, dude.
Yeah, okay.
Like he
You're right.
doesn't.
You're absolved.
He
You're
doesn't
absolved. I
stop.
got
Thank
hype
you.
before you. I
Yeah.
got hype before you. It's okay.
But yeah, it's gonna be awesome when it hits. And you want to know what else is awesome? Our amazing members over on patreon.com/Scope64 to keep the lights and mics on here. Amazing members at the highest tier get their name read at the end of each and every show we do here at Cope64. Amazing members like Han Solo, Logan Hamilton, Chad Channington III, Roland K, A2 Tone Hooligan, 40, Awesome O, G-Town, Stellanators, Humunga Dunga, Night Echoes, Skulls Thunder, Caleb Beef, Squidalicious, Sound Hills X, Blankets the Dog, Cash R, JKP, Pigeon Power, John B, Tyler, Sir Shellas, Raincoat, Ooh Gracie, Chuzar, MT Dumpar, Mr. Munchies, Malcolm the Dog, Farmer Spud, Rocketator, Nofi, The Dankest, Mike, Swampy Bits, Scones DC, He's a Killer, Trees, Aloha Alley, Scooterman, Senshuro, Hook'em, Horns Go, Nash, Neutral Sphere, Eli the Unusual, The Neutron Style, Easton C, Kingdom Hearts Rules, Stooby Dooby Dooba, Crispy, DJ Zach B, Uli, Jacob D, Big Mac, Melnate, The Patty Cake, Bear Pog, Cowboy Jesus, Mega, Yogi, Dam, Holnem, Brock, Voodoo, Milky Sins, Reggie Ranks, Alex the Golden, Andrew H, Master Days, Cannon Fodder Games, Only One, Rufus, yeah, J Mappy 3, Snake, Ali Benali, Bikel, and Kingdom Hearts Sucks. Matt, as always, thank you so much for joining me on this episode. And if you're listening, thank you so much for listening to this episode. We will see you in the next one. Peace out.